Hey, what's up guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be taking an update video of my Red Eyes Black Dragon deck profile. Now, this is a really fun deck that I love, and it has a lot of burn damage, and it plays my favorite XYZ card, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This is actually one of the first cards that I got in all three rarities it was ever released in, besides the Ultra Rare, which I do have, but sadly you can't play 4 of them, because if you could, I totally would. But without further ado, let's get straight into it with the old OG man himself, Red Eyes Black Dragon. So first off, we're going to play, of course, 3 copies of the Red Eyes Black Dragon himself. Now this is just a vanilla monster, but you use it for your overlay plays to make your Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragons, your level 7, or your rank 7s, and also use it for your fusion monsters. And this is kind of the heart and soul of the deck. Now, fun little fact about Red Eyes Black Dragon, if you guys were curious. In the original Bandai version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Red Eyes Black Dragon was actually referred to as the potential, compared to Blue Eyes being nothing but power. Now, you know you guys are probably going to comment down below about that, and I really hope that starts a conversation down in the comments. So, and before we get any farther in there, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. So, then we're going to play only 2 copies of Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. This one's a little bit interesting. If it's a Gemini monster, so you have to normal summon an additional time, and if you do normal summon an additional time, you can, if it inflicts damage if damage calculations is performed involving it, at the end of the battle phase, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack. So they take 2,400 points of damage automatically off the top after it battles, which makes it really good. Then we play 1 copy of Summoned Skull. Now, something neat to note about Summoned Skull is you have to actually play Summoned Skull over playing the other monster, the other Archfiend Skull of Lightning, or whatever his name is, because there's something to note right here. You see where it says 1 level 6 Archfiend normal monster? Well, Red Eyes Fusion lets you fuse from deck, but something to keep in mind, where it says 1 level 6 Archfiend normal monster, you have to use a normal monster. And since it counts as a Gemini monster, you actually can't use it from deck because it counts as an effect monster while in deck. Which really kind of sucks, but we do use the 1 copy of Summoned Skull in place of Archfiend. I think it's Red Eyes Archfiend Skull of Lightning or something like that. Anyways, so unimportant. Anyways, then we play 2 copies of Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. Now, this one's another Gemini monster, and it's actually really good. Other Red Eyes monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects after you normal summon it its extra time. So it's a really great card, and it lets us go into our copies of Meteor Black Comet Dragon, which is honestly the go-to monster for our fusion monsters nowadays. It's 3,500 and 2,000 defense. It's humongous, and we'll get into this card in just a little bit. So let's go a little bit more deep into this deck. So then we're going to play 1 copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is amazing. I wish they would bring it back to more than 1. Because it's a really good card, and that might be why they don't. You can special summon it from your hand by banishing 1 dragon-type monster you control. Also, once per turn, you can special summon 1 dragon-type monster from your hand or graveyard, except Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, which is really good, or Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Now, the really neat thing about this card is you can bring back any of your dragon monsters, and once you correctly fusion summon your dragon monsters, if you summon this later in the game, you can actually bring them back too, and bring back your XYZs if you need to, but they have to be appropriately summoned. So then we play, there's a little combo about this card that I'll show you in a minute. Then we play 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. Black Metal Dragon is a really nice card. It's an equip card, essentially, that you can target 1 Red Eyes monster you control, except Red Eyes Be Chick, which all of them exclude Red Eyes Be Chick. Equip it to this card from your deck, or from your hand, or your side of the field, to that monster. The target gains 600 attack, and if it is sent to the graveyard, meaning Black Metal Dragon, if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add 1 Red Eyes card, any Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand, which is amazing because it searches Red Eyes Fusion, Red Eyes Insight, and all those really good cards. Then we play the amazing Red Eyes, or not Red Eyes, the Black Stone of Legend, which sucks that it's not a Red Eyes, technically a Red Eyes card, even though it has to do with Red Eyes cards. You contribute this card to special summon 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, which is amazing. So let's just special summon any of our Red Eyes monsters right here, excluding our Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which kind of sucks. But you can also, when it's in the graveyard, you can shuffle back a Red Eyes monster that's level 7 or lower, and then add this card to your hand. But you can only use either or effect. You can't do both in the same turn. Then, this is the little wicked combo, is I actually play 3 copies of Paladin of Dark Dragon. Paladin of Dark Dragon is a really, really nice card in this deck because you can actually tribute Paladin off after it's summoned for your Darkness Metal Dragon, or any of these that you really need. And with pre-preparation of rites and the ritual spells effects, this is actually a really viable card until we get the Red Eyes Metal Knight Gearfried and Red Eyes Slash Dragon, which is really, really great, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably going to buy a box of that when it comes out and do an opening of that if I have the money when it comes out, and pull our Red Eyes Slash Dragons and then do an update, which I really look forward to playing that in this deck. And I probably will drop this when that comes out. But let's keep going, guys. That's actually it for all the monsters. Let's jump into the spells. So, not too many monsters. We do, I mean, it's a few, and we actually do utilize just about every, well, actually we do utilize every summoning technique in the game, including Ritual, Synchro, Fusion, and XYZ, and then soon to be Link Summoning. So, let's get into the spells. So, this is where you really play a lot of cards. And speaking of our Paladin of Dark Dragon, here is his Ritual spell card. His Ritual spell only calls for level 4 or higher, or level 4 or more. And during your main phase, except the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card to add 1 Red Eye spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, which makes this a very, very good card to search out our Red Eye spell and trap cards, again like Insight and Red Eyes Fusion. Then, to get the Paladin of Dark Dragon to our hand easier and get his fusion, or not his fusion, his ritual spell to our hand easier, we actually play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites, which lets us add a ritual spell and a ritual monster from the deck, but the ritual spell has to specifically list the monster that you're searching. So that's why a lot of people like Cyber Angels don't play this unless they're playing a Herald engine, because it doesn't specifically list them. Then we play 2 copies of Red Eyes Fusion and 1 copy of Dragon's Mirror. Now the reason we're doing this is because the Red Eyes Fusions are so searchable in this deck that you only need 1, or you only really need 2. You don't really need the 3rd one. I might bump it up to 3. I've considered it, but with the Dragon's Mirror, I kind of only like 2. The thing to keep in mind about your Red Eyes Fusions is that with the turn you use them, you cannot normal or special summon monsters other than that card, which kind of sucks. But you can set, which is nice. So you can set your black metal dragons and stuff like that to bait your opponent in. So your opponent will whack into them and then let you search something else. But then we play the Dragon's Mirror. So once we've done this Red Eyes Fusion, we can actually do our Dragon's Mirror to make another fusion monster next turn. So that's why I play 1 copy. I've considered again bumping it up to 2, but since I don't want to banish all my Red Eyes monsters and summon skulls and impacts, I decided to just play it at 1. Then I play 3 copies of Red Eyes Insight. This is the searcher of the deck. It's essentially the roto of the deck, but it's only for our Red Eyes spell and traps. But it does have a cost. You have to send a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard to activate it. Then you can search a Red Eyes spell or trap from the deck, which is kind of nice. I mean, it helps. It really, really does help. Then we play 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. This is really, really an amazing card for the deck. It lets you special summon a level 7 or 8 dragon monster in your graveyard, and then when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it if a dragon monster is going to be destroyed by battle or by card effect, and you don't destroy it instead. Even if multiple ones, like a Dark Hole or something like that. Then for the draw cards, we play 2 copies of Cards of Redstone. This is essentially the Allure of Darkness for your Red Eyes. You send 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster from your hand to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. Then you can send an additional level 7 Red Eyes monster from your deck, which is nice, and it's not all at once because you can go through those 5 that you have really easily. So you don't want to send them all the time. You kind of want to count them and make sure you have them. So because you're managing in groups of 5. I've considered bumping Black Flare up to 3, but I don't know yet. I'm kind of playing around with it until Slash Dragon comes out, but for now, 2 is plenty because we don't want to clog, and just 2 copies of Cards of Redstone is great in this deck. Then we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness, you typically want to banish either your paladins or your extra eggs, which is the Black Stone of Legend, or maybe a black metal dragon. You usually want to stick away from banishing your Red Eyes card, your Red Eyes monsters, because you can have you only have a few, so you kind of want to be careful of that. And that's actually it for all the spells. I don't really play Twin Twister in this deck because I don't really need it because of I can rebound if one of my monsters get destroyed, and my Black Flare my Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon is immune to being destroyed by card effects. So there's a couple of cards that I'm not really worried about getting killed, but I just don't need it in this deck. If you want to put it in, be my guest. Tell me what you're going to cut down in the comments below, and tell me what you're playing. Always love to hear. But let's get into the few traps. We're only playing 5 traps in the whole deck. So we're going to play 2 copies of Red Eyes Spirit, which is essentially a trap version of Monster Reborn for any Red Eyes card. This kind of makes up for us playing only 1 copy of Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, or Darkness Metal Dragon, because this can actually revive him, which is really, really good. And then, let me get this out of the way. Then we play 1 copy of Return to Red Eyes. If you control Red Eyes monster, except Red Eyes B-Chick, of course, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Also, if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, which if you like bait him out and set this, you can special summon 1 Red Eyes monster from your graveyard, which is any Red Eyes monster from your graveyard, which is really good. And this is actually multiple times you can do this, which is amazing. Then we play only 2 copies of Solemn Strike, because this kind of is our negation for, you know, monster effects, that we really only need the 2. But other than that, that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. We can go through the extra deck pretty quick. So for the extra deck, we're going to play 3 copies of our Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. It is the nuts. It is the bomb diggity of the deck. You always want to make this. It cannot be destroyed by card effects if it has XYZ materials, and while this card has XYZ materials, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. So if you can make this first turn, your opponent's going to only be able to activate 16 card effects before they die, or if you can make 2 on the field, they can only activate 8 before they die, which is why it is my favorite XYZ monster in the entire game, and why I have it in every single rarity. From Clash Rebellion, which is amazing. Also, the other, and in first edition. Also, once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ from this card to target 1 Red Eyes normal monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is amazing. It's great, it's great, it's great. Then for the other Red Eyes cards, you're going to play 3 copies of Meteor. With Meteor, when it's fusion summoned, you can send a Red Eyes monster from your deck to the graveyard to inflict half of its original attack to your opponent as damage, which is amazing. Also, the other thing about Meteor is if it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, or I believe it's if it's sent to the graveyard. If this card is sent to from the monster zone to the graveyard from any means, you can special summon 1 normal monster from your graveyard, which is amazing. Then for the last 2 Red Eyes cards that we play in the extra deck, we're going to play 2 copies of Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Now, this card's really neat. When it attacks, it's an Archimedes, and also at the end of the battle phase, I can target a Red Eyes monster in the graveyard and shuffle it back into the deck. I believe it has to be level 7 or lower. No, it's any Red Eyes normal monster in the graveyard, and then inflict damage to my opponent, which is amazing. And your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step when it attacks, which is amazing. This card is great. I like it more than Meteor, but Meteor's a little bit bigger and it replaces itself if it dies, which is another reason why I don't play Twin Twister. I'm like, go ahead, what are you going to do, kill it? That's really all you need for the extra deck, but I'll show you the other cards I play. I'm playing First of the Dragons because we can Dragon's Mirror into it, Make a Fan of Beast Draco Sack, Big Eye, 28 Titanic Moth, Hieratic Dragon of Atem. We can actually make this with 2 Meteor Dragons. I play it because I can grab out my, what's his name? Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon from the deck. And then Ghostrick Dalahan, you kind of make this. And then Sylvan, I think it's Sylvan, Princess Sprite. I'm going to get picked on for that. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. I hope you really enjoy this deck profile. I love Red Eyes. I don't know how much I can emphasize that. It's actually my 3rd most viewed video on my entire channel as of now. I hope this one can get even higher than that. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, and I'll see you in the next video. See you later, guys.